At Scriba's August 28th zoning information meeting, questions were asked about how zoning would affect you as a homeowner. Zoning was explained to be a technique to regulate the use of land. The presentation was followed by a question and answer period with many residents expressing concerns. One such question was if the public would get to vote on whether Scriba would adopt zoning. Let's watch how that question was answered.
When all is said and done, do the townspeople get to vote whether we have zoning or not?
I don't want
We
everyone,
better.
I don't want everyone to crank their necks here, so let me address that. This is part of the say, the zoning under New York state law, this is not a Scriba law, this is not an Oswego County law. Under New York state law, zoning, the development of zoning is not subject to a public vote or referendum. So
you guys can
what?
just walk all over us.
Oh, no, not at all. It's all part of the process. There's public hearings, there's public engagement. This is the first of many meetings and multiple months of work if it is to come to fruition. And as John had pointed out, part of the process allows the public's input and the transparent and open process of developing zoning, right? So the law, hold on, let me just explain. The law of New York State does not allow for a public referendum on this particular issue. It just doesn't.
There were many other questions, such as why do we need zoning if site plan review is already in place? Will zoning restrict my use of my own land? Will zoning tell people who they can have on their property? What is the guarantee that the city of Oswego will not take this over? We believe this was a reference to how the city runs our water department. You can watch all of the questions and answers from this meeting by scanning the QR code here. The meeting lasted about 2 hours and contained many questions posed by residents. The fact that residents had so many questions about zoning did not sit well with town planning board members. In fact, at their September 10th meeting, it was suggested that future zoning informational meetings should not include questions from the public. Here is the recording from that meeting.
Listen, we gotta get rid of the question and answer, because that opens up a lot.
There was also an interesting discussion about how future meetings should focus less on the regimented zoning portion of the presentation. This seemed to suggest the planning board wants to wash down how they describe what zoning means to landowners. Why would they do this? Listen carefully to this discussion and draw your own conclusion.
I think Jonathan should focus on.
Look, this with the presentation.
It was a great presentation, but I think we need to lean towards. I almost think cut the part about the real regimented zoning and the city and that kind of thing, and focus more on the other part. I think would help a little bit. The lower. Yeah, lower. I think that would help a little bit to, you know what I mean, just gradually mention it a little bit and then kind of lean towards the other one.
You can watch the full video of the planning board meeting by scanning this QR code here. If these are the conversations our planning board is having publicly, just imagine the conversations that are occurring privately. So, what can we learn from listening to our planning board? Are they representing your view on land use laws in this town? Zoning would substantially restrict your use of your own property. No one questions that. The unknown is how much would it restrict it, and no one is telling you that. Secondly, you do not have a direct vote in whether zoning is adopted or not. Regardless of these meetings, the town board will vote whether to adopt zoning. I wonder if they have already decided on that. What can you do as a landowner in Scriba to protect your rights? Show up and be heard. The next meeting to discuss zoning will be held Monday, September 15th at 1 p.m. at the Scriba Town Hall. The last meeting scheduled to talk about this is Thursday, September 18th at 6 p.m. at the Scriba Fire Station. Show up and let your representatives know how you feel about this.